Happy core day. Core strength is so critical to all of our other lifts, but more importantly, just daily functional movements. So grab yourself a medium dumbbell, light to medium dumbbell, and set your timers to 40-second intervals. We're going to start with a buy-in and in with the same buy-out. So go ahead and lie on your stomach, and we're going to do a back extension while we also lift our legs like a Superman, and then pull those elbows down towards the rib cage and back out. Do this exercise for 40 seconds before we start our workout. We often confuse our core as being just our abs, but in fact, our core is everything from our shoulders to our mid-thigh. Our backs are equally important to keep strong and balanced for our posture and all kinds of movements. All right, on to the circuit. We will have 4 different moves today that we will do on one side all the way through and then repeat on the other side, each of them for 40 seconds. The first move is an overhead side bend. This is working on our outer oblique on my right side in this movement. You can start with the dumbbell overhead, but if you're finding that too difficult or too much load, you can bring the dumbbell to your collarbone and continue the range of motion. Feel that outer oblique working as you pull your shoulders back up over your hips. Our next move is a side plank, and I want you to try to do it on the same oblique that was just working. So I was leaning to my left, working my right oblique. Now I'm down on my right elbow for a side plank. You can start on your bottom knee with that bottom knee down, and then if it feels secure, you can come to stacked feet. Whichever way, just make sure that your top shoulder is not rotating in and you're keeping your hips and shoulders stacked. Our next move is a seatbelt sit-up. So you're going to start with a dumbbell on one shoulder. In this case, I started it on my left so that I was twisting towards my right, aiming for that right oblique once again. As I come up, I'm twisting that dumbbell towards the opposite hip, much like you do to put a seatbelt on. This is going to work more of those inner oblique muscles. Our final move is going to be a plank knee drive. So start with those wrists underneath the shoulders and your hips at or below shoulder height, and you're going to drive that right knee into the right elbow, squeezing the right oblique. This also will work more of that inner oblique as opposed to the outer oblique we worked on our first 2 exercises. Once you're finished with that, give yourself a little rest if needed, and then repeat this entire sequence on the other side. Remember those modification options so that you can ensure proper technique. So if you're fatiguing with those arms overhead, bring the weight to the collarbone. On that side plank, you can start on your knee or you can stack your feet. If you want even more of a challenge from there, you can lift that top leg. Our third move is that seatbelt sit-up. Not much of a modification here, but you can use that dumbbell more as momentum if needed. So use it to help swing you forward. But if possible, I want you to use it more as resistance. In the plank, of course, you can drop to the knees. Just keep those abs braced nice and tight. Repeat that circuit 2 to 3 times total. Once you're finished, you got to repeat that back extension for your buyout for 40 seconds. So repeat those oblique exercises 2 to 4 times. Give that a quick buyout on the back exercise. Give it a good stretch. Child's pose is always a good way to calm down and cool down. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you next time.